Well, Jimmy Garoppolo did not have a good game, to put it lightly. I mean, just statistically, the numbers were abysmal. He was 7 for 17, averaging under 5 yards per attempt, only 77 yards. On top of this, no touchdowns to 2 interceptions, and he fumbled the ball as well, although that one wasn't his fault whatsoever. Still, numbers definitely not very good. In fact, the only touchdown that the 49ers scored was when they ran the ball 3 times and got a touchdown on that drive, so he never even threw the ball on their touchdown drive. Numbers weren't very good. Let's just get into the tape, what went wrong, and then we'll sort of talk about Jimmy Garoppolo as a whole. So, first we'll start things off with this play. The reason why I want to show this play is because really the key takeaway was that I had personally when it came to the 49ers offense versus the Dolphins defense is that this Dolphins defense completely dominated it in the secondary. Their defensive backs were able to dominate against the 49ers receivers, and that's tough. Like on this play, what's going to happen is that, it's man coverage. There is a receiver running over the middle, so this is a pretty, good situation against this type of coverage. The downside, of course, is that there is someone over the middle who could potentially take away this route, but really, as long as Deebo Samuel, who's running this route, is able to just finish it and get past the middle of the field, as long as there's enough time to do that, this absolutely could be open. However, once this ball is snapped, you notice that that's not working out too well. If you look in the yellow circle, there is no separation right here. So this is just a throw that Garoppolo shouldn't make. It looked good pre-snap. Post-snap, it didn't work out the way you were hoping it would. That's fine. It happens. It's football. However, Garoppolo, he is going to decide to try and get it through here anyways. Could have easily been intercepted. There was a better chance that one was going to get intercepted than complete. And that's honestly a lot of what this game was. I mean, it wasn't Garoppolo almost throwing interceptions, although there was definitely some of that. But it was a lot of just the receivers were not getting open against these defensive backs, and that's a real issue. And it's something that is, I think, a bit concerning. I mean, listen, Miami does have a lot of good players in their secondary, but at the same time, they're not the best secondary in the NFL, so it's definitely concerning. Although I have to be fair, I can't let Garoppolo off the hook. This isn't me being a Patriots fan talking about Tom Brady in his last season in New England of the whole, no receivers were open. No, there were receivers open in this game. Garoppolo also had some misfires. Like on this one, it's same coverage, pretty similar route. So you guys know how it works. I don't have to explain it again. Once this play starts, you're going to see that this time there is some separation here. Not crazy separation, but there is something here, and most notably is just going to be the positioning right here, where the player that Garoppolo wants to throw it to is just closer to the inside. Actually, once again, this is Deebo Samuel. He's closer to the inside, closer to Garoppolo. So for Garoppolo, all he has to do is really just hit Samuel in a way where he runs in a couple of yards, or just tries to hit him to the side. There definitely is a window where Samuel can make this catch. Not a huge window, but there is a window. However, Garoppolo is just going to miss this throw again. You just can't let that happen. And Garoppolo was missing a good amount of throws. He missed this one. He missed other ones. And so that's kind of the problem with Jimmy Garoppolo and with this team really in that game was that Garoppolo was just straight up missing some throws. Like there's no better example of that than the interception right before the half. So just to set the stage a little bit, right now, San Francisco has 2 timeouts left in the half. There's 26 seconds left. And so, they're thinking, hey, let's try and maybe see if we can get some points here. We're down. So that's what they're going to try and do. Unfortunately, it is a 3rd down and 10 here, though. So they need to get the first down if they're going to have a chance to get some points. For Miami, they're playing a coverage that's designed to just make sure they don't give up 10 yards. They're fine with giving up 9 yards here. Just they don't want to give up 10. Because, obviously that's the first out. And for San Francisco, they have a little coverage that could potentially work here. Basically, 2 players run near each other, but they're kind of going to try and both get in the same zone while still being far enough apart that a Miami player can only cover one of them, and Garoppolo hits the other one. That's the concept. It's an okay concept. And once this ball is snapped, it's working out okay. Right? So really the San Francisco player who I've circled in yellow, that's who Garoppolo is going to want to try and hit. He's about to run over the middle, and as you see, there would be a small window in between the 2 Miami players who I've circled in black in front of him, where maybe you can try to get it in between them. there's a chance this can work. But I've also circled a Miami player who is behind, and typically you think that he wouldn't be getting into this play. And if this is a good throw, he wouldn't be getting into this play. This is not going to be a good throw. Garoppolo just throws it high. It ends up getting easily intercepted. It was just one got away from him, which happens in football sometimes, and it especially happens with Garoppolo. I feel like he is good for, he had a small handful of these last season as well, where he would just throw one that would completely get away from him. And if you're going to be a run-heavy, good defense team, it's really tough when you have a quarterback who will just sometimes even make a right decision and just have a ball get away from him that results in an interception. On top of this, there was also this play. This was the other interception where it's going to be man coverage. There's a single safety deep. It's a robber concept. So there's two safeties who are looking like they could be deep here. One's going to stay deep. The other's going to cut over the middle of the field. And you look at the two routes. These are two routes that could potentially get open depending on what the safeties do. So since this is a robber concept, the player running over the middle won't get open. But if it was, let's say, cover two man, where they both stayed deep, then that route would have gotten open. And that's going to be Garoppolo's first read on this play because, again, he can't see the future. We can because I've already seen this play. But what's going to happen is that once this play starts, he looks over the middle. He even looks like he starts to throw it there for a second and then realizes that, okay, no, this is a robber. There is a safety coming over the middle. If I throw that, it's going to be intercepted, maybe even a pick six. Don't want to do that. So he's not going to throw it to the player in the white circle. He's instead going to try to throw it to the player in the yellow circle, which makes some sense, right? Because there's only one safety deep, and he can try and hit a player running towards the sideline because that's very difficult for a safety to run over because that's a lot of ground to cover. However, there's going to be two key problems with this play. The first of which is that if you're going to throw it here, it has to get close to the sideline because, again, the safety, he is closer to the bottom of the screen than the top of the screen. I mean, look at him. He's below the logo right here. So he is already sort of cheating to that side. On top of this, you have to get it there quickly. Again, you have to be aware of what that safety deep is doing. So you have to throw it in a way where the safety isn't going to make a play. Garoppolo does not do either of those things. He's going to have this one hang up for a long time, barely gets it away from the numbers, which just allows for a pretty easy interception. And that's not good either. And it was just, these are mistakes that you don't want to see your star quarterback doing, your franchise quarterback doing. It's fair to say. Now, do I think the 49ers should move on from Garoppolo? No, of course not. That would be absolutely insane. I mean, if he has like 7 more games like he had last week, then okay, maybe then you start considering it. But he had one terrible game where his passer rating was 15. That is abysmal. It's also not going to happen consistently. And as I said, a lot of this wasn't his fault, although some definitely was. Let's not forget, though, that literally the last time we saw him, he had a passer rating of 140. And while that was against the Jets, he also had a plus 100 passer rating against Arizona. So there's a lot of good things that he does. Don't let one game completely fool you. I'd much rather look at the bigger body of work of last year when he had a passer rating of over 100. And listen, some people are going to sit here and say, well, Garoppolo, he's the kind of quarterback where he can win you can win a Super Bowl with him. You're not going to win a Super Bowl because of him. And while I do kind of agree with that, if you look at his contract, it's actually very reasonable. Again, it's kind of the thing in the NFL with these quarterback contracts. They're going up higher and higher every year. So when he got that contract, we all thought it was a crazy high. Now it feels very reasonable. I mean, he's making $24 million this year, so that's a very reasonable price, I think, for Garoppolo. And on top of this, it is also worth mentioning, at the end of the season, they could cut him for just $3 million in dead cap. So, listen, you can maybe think about it, but at this point, I don't even think it's worth asking the question. You keep Garoppolo. He had a bad game. He was also coming off an injury. I'm sure that affected him. And Miami defense played well. Give credit to the Miami Dolphins. Really, as a whole, their entire team played well. So, yeah, that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. And, of course, as always, thanks for watching.